listeners. Welcome to Teaching Learning session of Sociology. Today we'll discuss about the feminist perspectives for research. In our last lecture, we discussed about historical perspective of research, right? How the history plays an important role in the research, or what is the role of history in research. Today we'll discuss about the feminist perspective, right? See, feminist perspective, there are two terms, sex and gender, and I hope you know the difference. Sex is a biological term, while gender is a sociological term, right? So it is very important. There are actually in society has been divided on the basis of the gender, right? Male, female, and nowadays another other gender, right? Third gender. Now, this feminist perspective, what is this feminist perspective? That a sociologist till almost the 20th century did not focus on the gender as an important aspect of the society. Although society is divided on the basis of the gender, but till 20th century, sociologists did not focus on the gender as an important aspect of society. The study of gender begins in 1970s, and prior to 70s, 1970s, there was a little or no work on the gender. So this work on the gender started in 1917, or started from 1970. Prior to 1970, there was little or the no work on the gender. It was almost as if society was constituted only by men. It was assumed that the study of men in society automatically included women. A gendered aspect of the society, whether in terms of the institutions or roles, were unquestioned, and gender was assumed to be the part of a natural order of things. This rendered gender invisible in the study of men. So, not much importance has been given to the gender aspect of the society, and it has been considered by the sociologists that the study of men automatically includes women, and the emergence of the feminist methodology challenged this way of studying society. In 1970s, when this feminist approach or feminist methodology has been emerged, it challenged the way of studying this society. How could you ignore, or how could you ignore the gender aspect of the society, or how could you consider that the study of men will automatically includes the women? So they challenged this way of studying the society. In the initial phase, it emerged as a critic to positivist epistemology that prevailed in the social sciences. It questioned the way that the gender has been largely ignored, studied, or presented by the positivist. We know about the positivist, right? They argued almost aspect of society, including gendered perspective. The proponents of the feminist methodology argued for a methodology that made the gender aspect of the society visible. Right. So, when this perspective, the feminist perspective, have been emerged, or this methodology has been evolved, or came up, they question the way the positivist studied this society, because they largely ignored that gendered perspective. The values of rationality, the values of freedom from religious dogma, ideas of progress, and linking of progress with capitalism were the main themes of dominated society. Till 1970s, what were the themes of the study in sociology? The main dominated themes in the sociology till 1970s, or till 20th century, it was rationality, freedom from religious dogma, idea of progress, and linking of progress with capitalism. The first set of scholars who began studying society used the positivist approach. Positivism is a social science, were led by the theorist Auguste Comte and the Emile Durkheim. We know that Auguste Comte and the Emile Durkheim were positivists. There are many other, but they are the main positivists, and they are the first set of scholars who begin studying this society using the positivist approach. What is the positivist approach? According to positivist approach, you can study the society objectively as you can, as it has been done by the natural sciences. In natural sciences, you can study, according to them, according to positivist, it is possible to study the society objectively on the basis of the laws of natural sciences, and they ignore the gender aspect of the society altogether. Right. The positivist believed that it was important to study the society from a scientific perspective. They just stressed on the scientific perspective of the society, to study the society from a scientific perspective, so that you can generalize the results. So they emphasized on the study of the scientist, or on the study of the society scientifically. They worked with the vision to formulate universal laws for the study of the society. They wanted to formulate the laws that can be generalized, that can be universalized, that can be applied to any of the society. So they emphasized on the universalization of the laws, and it could be done when you can, according to them, it could be done when you can study the society scientifically, objectively, as natural sciences. Social structure was seen as a comparable to the natural world. They compared the social structure with the natural world, although it was believed that the method of natural sciences could be applied to the study of society. The task of positivist was to study the social fact. If you remember the Durkheim has given the concept of social fact, and the positive, and Durkheim is a positive. And this, the task of positivist was to study the social fact. They studied the social fact as per the rules of natural sciences, and on the basis of that, they wanted to universalize or generalize the rules. Right. So the task of positivist was to study the social fact. The focus was on the objectivity, reliability, and the validity. They focused on the objectivity of the study, that how can you study the society objectively, how reliable your study is, or how valid the study is. They believed that they were studying society in neutral and the impartial manner. According to the positivist, you can study the society impartially without bias. Then only, and how could you do that? Through objectivity. You can do that by not involving into this society, or by not involving in the group under study. Right. One should observe, the researcher should observe the thing from the outside as an outsider, and one should not involve in that. Right. So objectivity, you can attain the objectivity or unbiasedness. And by according to the positivist, they believe that there were us studying society in a neutral and the impartial manner. These positivists emphasized on the objectivity, on the reliability, and the validity of the study, right? And they emphasized on the universalization of the laws, right? Generalization of the laws, right? So they studied they studied on the perspective of objectivity. They totally ignored the gendered aspect of the society, while the another set of sociologists like Max Weber were critical to positivist. They were critical to the positivist. Weber studied this subject through the method of subjective interpretation and worsening. We discussed about this subjective interpretation and worsening of Max Weber. right? So they were against, they opposed, they were critical to, not opposed, they were critical to the positivist. According to them, you can study the society on the basis of the subjective interpretation and through Versthane, that one should be the part of that society, then only you can understand the subjective interpretation. Subjectively, how can you interpret one's action, right? If someone is doing something, or what is the reason or the meaning of one's action. So he emphasized that Max Weber emphasized on the Versthane or the subjective interpretation. He believed that the methods of natural sciences were not appropriate for the study of societies. So, according to Max Weber, you cannot apply the laws of natural sciences on study on societies. You cannot study the society, or you cannot conduct the research on the society on the basis of the laws of natural sciences. For him, sociological study was value free in the sense that its rationality was defined by the community of social scientists and the culture prevailing at that time. For Weber, the choice of subject matter for research was not a value free. Max Weber emphasized on the value free research. Value free research means your value should not interfere with your research. You should not be biased. But according to Max Weber, that the choice of the subject matter for the research was not value free. On the basis of your values, on the basis of your beliefs, you choose the matter of the research or the topic of your research. It could not be value free, right? Once the choice was made, then the study was done in the value free manner, right? You can study the, according to Max Weber, you can study, or you should study the society in a value free manner. But according to Max Weber, that the choice of the subject matter cannot be value free. On the basis of the values of a particular researcher, one chooses on the basis of beliefs and values of a researcher chooses this topic of study, right? But after choosing the topic of study, after the choice was made, then the study was done in a value free manner. Then it should not be, then the values and beliefs of a researcher should not come in the way. The subject matter chosen for the researcher in Weberian sense would be influenced by prevailing norms of the researcher. The objectivity for Weber in the social sciences would be determined by ontological orientation of the researcher themselves. Weber's version of value free social sciences was flawed. It was not foolproof. So this value-free version of Weber is flawed. The feminist argued that ontology of research determined the choice of topic of research. Since gender was almost invisible in research, this meant that the epistemology of social sciences itself was based on the falsely value-free premise. So, according to the feminist sociologist, that gender was invisible in the research. And when gender is invisible in the research, this shows that the epistemology of the social sciences itself was based on the falsely value free premise. So, how could it be value free? When you have ignored one aspect of the society totally, how could it be value free? You are biased. This shows that you are biased. The interpretation of social action was also based on this flawed version of reality shared by the researcher and the research subject. So, according to the feminist, this subjective interpretation or value free research, this Weber version of value free research is flawed when you have ignored, when the sociologists have ignored an important aspect of this society totally, then how could it be a value free? Right, and the interpretation of social action is also flawed according to the feminist, right? That it's shared by the researcher and the research subject. Okay. The critic of the dominant and Reocentric methodologies. Feminist methodology was critical to this vision of the society. Progress in society was attributed to the development of the rational human thoughts. The default understanding was that it is assumed that human beings were represented by men. So the feminists were criticizing all these aspects, whether it's a positivist aspect of the sociologist or the another aspect of the sociologist. They were critical to the vision of the society, how you visualize the society. So the feminist methodology was critical to the vision of the society. The progress. What was the vision of the society at that time? That the progress of the society was attributed to the development of human thoughts, rational human thought. So the emphasis was on the study of the rational human thought, and the rational human thought is considered to be as a progress of the society. That was the only aspect to study the society. That was the only attribute on the basis of which you can say whether there is a progress in this society or the not, that is rational human thoughts. The default understanding was that it is assumed that the human beings were represented by men. It assumed that human beings and those who contributed to the development of society were men and their brotherhood. They had a very little to say on the issues related to gender, nor did they have much to say on the impact of these changes on the women. Although the changes are going on in the society, they consider that that the study of the men includes the women automatically, and the sociologist never have to say anything on the impact of these changes in the society, whether it's a rational changes or irrational changes in the society, how they impacted the females or the women in the society. The universal idea of progress and thought was limited to the universe of the men only. So the idea of the progress and thought was limited to the universe of the men and their brotherhood only, and they very conveniently ignored the other gender, the female aspect of the society. The criticism of dominant positivist methodology prevalent in social sciences has been at several levels. The positive approach was critiqued for its emphasis on the value free objectivity. The dominance of the reason, rationality, and empiricism in the 19th century had a false premise of the objectivity. Women were excluded from the research. The view of women of a leading thinker at that point were biased, right? So the women were excluded from the research, and the view on the women were biased. The view on women of the leading thinkers at that point were biased. So if you say that you are studying the society objectively, it was not like that. You were not biased free, and at that time sociologists were not biased free according to the feminist, because according to feminist, women were excluded from the research, and the view on the women of the leading thinkers at that point was biased. Thinker like Jean Jacques Ross and Kant deemed women to be a weaker sex. So the thinkers, we discussed about the thinkers like Jacques Ross and the Kant, right? They considered the women as a weaker sex. Women were positioned on the other side of the truth, rationality, and science. Institutionalization of such thought and expertise also meant that the view of society became legitimate and authoritative. because they considered the women, because the sociologists, because the view of the eminent sociologists or thinkers were biased, and they considered the women as a weaker sex, and the women at that time were positioned on the other side of the truth. They were placed on the other side of the truth, rationality, and the science. They didn't pay any attention to them, right? And the institutionalization of such thought, and these thoughts have been institutionalized and expertise. These thoughts were institutionalized, and expertise also meant that view of society become legitimate and authoritative, and this has given a legitimate and the authoritative type of a thing. This view is actually responsible for the legitimation and the authoritative nature of stronger sex or of males towards females. The feminists argued that this was just perceived objectivity and did not constitute a value free research, because you considered a section of a society as a weaker, and you didn't want, or you never wanted to pay any attention towards that section of the society, and your thought has been institutionalized, and this has led to the legitimation and the authoritativeness in the society. Then how can your research be a value free or objective? So according to the feminist, or the feminist argued that this was just a perceived objectivity. It was a perceived objectivity. Actually, your research is not objective. You are not value free or unbiased, right? It did not constitute the value free research. It is a perceived objectivity and a perceived value free research, while you are biased towards a certain section of a society. There was an artificial division between the mind and the body. René Descartes' work in the 17th century was turning point in terms of studying the world. So it was Descartes whose work in the 17th century was a turning point in terms of studying the world. He focused on the world around through the reason and mind, and not institutions and emotions. So, how it was a turning point? Because he focused on the world around through reason and mind. There was a division in the mind, a false division in the mind, right? Artificial division in between the mind and the body. And he started studying this society, or he focused on the world around through the reason and mind, and not on the institutions and emotions. Not on the institutions and emotions, through reason and mind. This Cartesian dualism believed to be separation of mind and matter. This dualism became a part of Western common sense. It was believed that men were master of their mind. See the biasedness. When there is a biasness, and it was considered that the men were the master of their mind and females were emotional. So this Rene Descartes started studying through the reason and mind, and not on the institutions and the emotions, right? It was believed that the men were the master of their mind, and they were rational and could master their mind, as opposed to the women were considered to be passionate and more in tune with their emotions. That was a general perspective, that men have brains, they are master, they can master their minds, right? They are masters of their mind, they can control their mind, while women were considered to be the emotional and passionate. The impact of the Cartesian dualism was that scientific investigation focused on the external observable world. No importance was given to the mind, that is thought and emotions. And how they have reached to this result that men can master their minds and women are more passionate and emotion, that is through the investigation focused on the external observable world. No importance has been given to the mind, that is thoughts and the emotions. The feminist researcher claimed that the Cartesian classification of women was unreasonable and was biased. The feminist said that the region itself was socially constituted. Right? It was how they have reached to this conclusion that men can master their mind and women are more passionate and that emotional on the basis of their external, on the basis of their observation. And the feminist researcher claimed that this classification was unreasonable and was biased, right? And according to them, reason itself was biased. They argued that the validity of knowledge and even the research question asked were androcentric. According to the feminist, the validity of knowledge and even the research question asked were androcentric, male centered. They ask a question in a way that emphasize on the males rather than on the females. So even the questions were biased, and on the basis of their research, according to the feminist, all researches were biased. Right? Theorists like Harding and Smith pointed out the masculine bias in the social sciences. They argued that the focus of research has been on the Western categories of the reason and rationality as opposed to the emotions. They focus on the official, public, visible ways of the functioning and not the informal system indicated a masculine bias. So, the feminist or the theorist like Harding and the Smith, they said that there is a masculine bias in the social sciences. They were biased toward the male. According to them, that the focus of research has been on the Western categories of reason and rationality. That till 20th century, till 1970s, the sociologists emphasized on the study of the rationality. They focused on the rationality, reason and rationality rather than emotions. And they focus on the official or the public visible way of functioning and not the informal system. And because and all this show that they are biased. They argued that the traditional epistemologies were excluded the voice of women. Science and history have been written purely on the masculine perspective, and the subject of traditional sociological analysis has always been males. So, according to feminist theorist or the feminist sociologist, that according to them, that the traditional sociology or the society have always excluded the voices of women. They never included the voice of women. And this, according to them, that the science and history have been written purely from the masculine perspective. They have totally ignored the female perspective, and the science and history have been written purely on the basis of the masculine perspective. And because this science and history has been written on the masculine perspective, how could you say that your research is a value free or objective? According to feminist research carried out by the positivist or other sociologist by Max Weber, that according to positivist, you can study the society objectively and you can generalize the rule. But according to the feminist, they didn't study the society objectively. There was a biased They ignored a certain section of the society, and history and science has have been written purely on from the perspective of males, right? So, your research cannot be unbiased or value free. The subject of traditional sociology analysis has always been men. So, whenever they tried to analyze the thing, the subject of analysis has always been men. They never included women. They very conveniently ignored the females of the society. Such sciences, they argued, was unreflective. So, according to feminists, such sciences or such studies are unreflective because it is not reflecting a perspective of females. They are just reflecting the society. They are the biased type of the researchers. So they considered or they argued that such studies or such sciences are unreflective. The masculine bias meant that the feminine point of view was assumed to be the part of humanist perspective. That masculine bias means that the sociologist always considered that when they are taking a view of the male, that automatically includes the view of females. This was called the gynocentric methodology of the 1970s and 80s. Feminist research methodology developed an understanding that it was difficult to understand women through male categories. Right? So, mm, this feminist research methodology, it developed an understanding that it was difficult to understand women through male categories. How could you? Right, you cannot understand the female from the through male categories, and vice versa, you cannot understand male through female categories. You should hear the voices of both and every gender, right? There was a need for rethink on categories too. Yes, categories. There should be, it is required that you should rethink on the categories. Feminists like Smith argued that sociology was unreflective and presented women from the standpoint of men who were the ruling class. Again, there are classes, the dominant class and the ruling class and the ruled class. So Smith argued that this type of a sociology is unreflective, and this type of sociology, they presented the women from the standpoint of the men. How could you consider that through by studying the men you have automatically studied the women? No, it cannot be. So it is unreflective, and it is not correct to present the women from the standpoint of the men who were the ruling class. So according to them, according to Smith and other feminists, this all the researches were biased. She argued that the female social universe included only a set of issues specific to men, like industrial sociology, social stratification, political sociology, etc. This marginalized the women. Right. So, according to feminist sociologists, the male social universe includes only a set of issues specific to the men, because before 1970s, the emphasis on the study of the rationality or on the study of the development of the society. So the main topic or emphasis on this study was the issues specific to the men, like industrial sociology. They always wanted to study about the industrial sociology, which were dominated by the males, or social stratification, or the political sociology. These are the areas which are dominated by the males. Even today, these are the areas which are dominated by the males. And this marginalized the women. So, according to the feminist sociologist, the area of study or the matter of the study was actually confined to the industrial sociology, social stratification, political sociology. They are very conveniently marginalized the women. Mainstream anthropology focused on the men's activities rather than the issues like child rearing or domestic violence or women's participation in workforce. Even in anthropology, we discussed about the anthropology, we discussed about the Radcliffe Brown. Even the mainstream anthropology focused on the men's activity. It was difficult at that time, it was difficult for a female anthropologist to carry out the research. They faced at that time they faced many of the anthropologists, female anthropologists. If you will study about those anthropologists, you will come to know that they faced various type of the problems or reluctancy from their counterparts, male counterparts basically. So the mainstream anthropology focused on the men's activity rather than on the issues related to women, like child rearing or domestic violence or women's participation in the workforce. Even the sociologist and the anthropologist focused on the men's issue rather than the females issue. The feminists also argued that this sort of objective approach led to the objectification of those being researched. The researched were treated as object and were not given any agency. The relationship between the researcher and researched was an hierarchical one. And the researcher was the knower who imposed their own categories of thought on those being researched. Right. So that the feminist argued that the objective approach is just the objectification of those being researched. So they highly they criticize that objectivity of the research. According to the feminist, this objective approach of research is nothing but the objectification of those being researched. You are just objectifying who are under study. The researched were treated as an object and were not given any agency, because when you are studying these things objectively, you are treating the people under study or the as a subject or as an object. And there is a hierarchical relationship between the researcher and the researched, right? And the researcher was the knower who imposes their own categories of thoughts on those being researched. So, according to feminist, that this study that the studies carried out that studies carried out were not objective or not value free. There is a hierarchical relationship between the researcher and research, and the researcher knows the thing, so they try to impose the thing on the researched, and the research were treated as an object, right? The researcher appear as a knower who knows everything, and the researched as known. Often the category of thought that is imposed on the research subject are those of a researcher. The practical difficulty in doing research in which the subject is treated as a thing also leads to the production of a false kind of a knowledge. So, according to the feminist, when you treat the researcher, when you treat the researched, right, are those under research as an object or as an subject, right? Then this could lead to a production of a false kind of a knowledge, because you are imposing, because the research according to the feminist, you are the researcher impose, they feel, the researcher feel like they know the things, and they try to impose their views on the uh, um, their own categories on the researched. And when this researcher try to impose their categories on the researcher, right, on the, sorry, on the researched, when the researcher try to impose their own categories on the research, then there could be the chances, um, or this could lead to the production of the false kind of a knowledge. Those who are being researched often do not share their true experiences, because they ask the things, or they try to impose, the researcher try ask the things in a way, or they try to impose the things in such a way that they do not share their true experience. The research, the people under study, or those who are being researched, do not share their true experiences. The power relationship between the researcher and the researched in some way done away with the feminist methodology, right? So according to the feminist, that there is a power relationship. They said that there is a hierarchical relationship. Hierarchy means a power relationship, right? Hierarchy, there is a hierarchy, and because of this hierarchical relationship or the power relationship, that according to the feminist, that the people under study, or those who are being researched, do not share their experiences, true experiences, and this could lead to the false interpretation, or the false production of the false knowledge, right? And the relationship between the researcher and the research in some way done away with the feminist methodology. And this could be this power relationship between the researcher and researched can be done away with the feminist methodology. Harding and Smith argued for a need to place the researcher on the same plane as the researched. So, Harding, according to the Harding and Smith, there should be no hierarchy between the researcher and the research. They should be on the same platform. Then only you can conduct this study objectively or unbiasedly. The feminist proposed a phenomenological, ethno-methodological, and then interactionist approach in which women experiences matter. So rather than emphasize on the objectivity of the study, they focused on they say, according to feminist, you can study, one should study the women's experience through phenomenology, through inter through phenomenology, through ethnomethodology, and through interactionist approach, right? One should study it through interactionalist approach, through methodological approach, or through phenomenological approach. They advocated the use of qualitative method as opposed to the quantitative method, right? So according to feminist, you can study the society or the females, they emphasized on the qualitative method rather than the quantitative method. These phenomenology or ethnomethodology or this interactionist approach, all these are the qualitative method, while the objectivity is the quantitative method. So they emphasized or they advocated for the use of the qualitative method. This method was based on identifying with the subject rather than objectifying with them. So they emphasized, according to them, it is important to identify with the subject rather than objectifying them. One should identify the subject. As in objectivity, they were objectifying the researched. According to the Smith, it is important to identify identifying with the subject rather than the objectifying the subject. Focus should not be on the structure of the society but on the processes. So, feminist emphasizes on the processes of the society rather than the structure of the society. Till 1970s, the emphasis was on the structural aspect of the society, the development of the society, the structure of the society, right? But feminists argued that the focus should be on the processes rather than the structures of the society. The concept should be generated within the field itself and should not be predefined. So, according to them, that the concept should not be predefined; it should be generated in the field only. This would give a voice to the researched, and the researcher should build from their experiences of the everyday world. So, if the concepts are generated within the fields and should not be predefined, this would give a voice to the researched. They can state their researcher should build from their experiences of everyday world. The methodology used should be experiential and inductionist rather than deductive. So, according to feminist Smith, according to the method used to conduct the researches should be inductionist type of the methodology or the experiential type of the methodology rather than the deductive type of the methodology. There was a need for generating concepts within the field rather than working with a preconceived and a predefined concept. So, a feminist emphasized that the concept should be generated within the field rather than working with the preconceived or predefined concept. Right? So, if there is a predefined or preconceived fact, it could lead to biasedness. It could lead to the development of the hierarchy. It could lead to the production of the false results. This was a direct contrast to the androcentric methodology prevalent in the social sciences. So, these methodologies were in contrast to the androcentric methodologies. Those methods were prevalent in the society. These feminists emphasized on the qualitative type of a research. They emphasized on the phenomenology, ethnomethodology, and the interactionist approach. According to the feminist approach, that the it is important that the concept should be generated in the field rather than studying the rather than working with the preconceived or predefined concept, and method should be inductive type of a method rather than the research should be inductive type of a research rather than the deductive, and all these are in sharp contrast with androcentric approach. Emerging from the women's liberation movement in 1960 and 70, feminist theorists argued there was a need to do research from the standpoint of a woman. Right. So, when there was a women's liberation movement in 1960s and 70s, that now that feminist theorists argued that now it is required that one should start research or need to do a research from this standpoint of the women, and the aim was to create a space for women's research and to raise the consciousness. Western feminist scholars started incorporating women in their studies of history, literature, philosophy, and other social sciences. So, after women's liberation in 60s and 1960s and 70s, now the Western feminist scholar, these scholars started incorporating the women in the studies of history, in the studies of literature, in the studies of philosophy and other social sciences. So it has been started by the actually by the scholars, Western feminist scholars, and the aim was to create a women's research. That is to create a space for a women research and to raise the consciousness. The conscious effort was also made to study the women. The study of women, their achievement become institutionalized in the several women study department in the West. So now this has been institutionalized. This study of women has been institutionalized, right? And the study of women's their achievement become institutionalized in the several women study department in the West. Its value were those of equality and androgyny. They insisted that women were as capable as men, right? The standpoint theorists argue that without acknowledging the social location of the researcher, the knowledge that is presented as universal is incorrect. So, the value neutrality of social sciences was biased and skewed, right? So, the theorists argue that without acknowledging the social location of the researcher, right, the knowledge that was presented universally is incorrect, and this value neutrality is actually biased and skewed. There could be no value neutrality. The standpoint theorists believe that understanding women's experience is fundamental to understand their realities, and they argued that the researcher should be from all point of view. Research should be from all point of view, and they contend that the point of view of white heterosexual, upper and middle class researcher is extremely skewed. So this is important. According to a theorist, that value-free research is biased and skewed, right? And it is important to understand the women's experience. If you really want to understand their realities, understand their experience, listen to them. If you really want to understand the realities, right? And then they said that there should be the study should be from all point of views, whether it's white, whether it's heterosexual, whether it's upper class or the middle class, that the researches are actually extremely skewed. They are skewed. Theorists like Nancy Hartsock believe that Marxist idea of truth is historically specific and all knowledge is political. She contends that the position of women in the society and the sexual division of labor means that the lives of women differ from the lives of men. The patriarchal vision of the gender structure material relationships between men and women. So, according to Nancy, it is because of the patriarchal vision of the gender. Then the relationship that this vision of the gender structure the materialistic relationship between the men and the women, and this division of labor and actually the sexual division of labor means that the lives of women differ from the lives of men, right? So how could you divide the division of labor on the basis of sexes? This shows that lives is different. Postmodernist critic feminist knowledge production since 1980s on the ground of focus of epistemological assumption of rationality, objectivity, and value neutrality. They argued that the research is never bias free. A postmodern thought as developed by Derrida, Foucault, and has had a powerful impact on feminist methodology. So, the postmodernist critic feminist knowledge production said that the research is never biased free. And the postmodern thoughts, as developed by Derrida and the Foucault, has had a powerful impact on the feminist methodology. So, they have a impact on the powerful impact on the feminist methodology. So, according to the feminist perspective, right? What is the feminist perspective? According to the feminist perspective, um, um, that it is important to study, to listen to the females, right? That according to the theorist, feminist theorist, research can never be biased free, and the methodology adopted to study the females, or the objectivity, that the objective study, they criticize the positivist, that you cannot study the society objectively. And according to the feminist, that emphasis till 1970s, the emphasis was given on the study of the rationality or the structure of the society, while feminists stressed upon the processes. According to feminists, it is important to understand the processes. And according to them, if someone says that one can study the objective, study the society objectively, and the research can be carried out value free, then feminists criticize that. According to them, whether it's positivist or other sociologists, they were not value free, they were not unbiased. They very conveniently, those sociologists very conveniently, or the theorists very conveniently ignored the female aspects of the society. They never listened to the voices of female, and they considered that the voices of males incorporates the voices of females. While feminist said, the feminist theorist said that one should listen to the voices of the female, right, and should emphasize on the inductive processes, right, and should include the females in the study, right? So we discussed about the feminist perspective. Now the quantitative method of inquiry, right? What is the quantitative method of the inquiry? Yes, and feminist, though theorist, the feminist emphasized on the qualitative method of inquiry rather than the quantitative method of inquiry. They emphasized on the phenomenology and the ethnomethodology and the interpretation. And according to the feminist, there should be no hierarchy between the researcher and the researched. The researcher and the researched should be on the same platform. And rather than preconceiving the concept of study, right, rather than preconceiving the concept of study, that the concept of study should be framed at the time of study, or should be framed in the field, rather than preconceiving the concept of study, because the preconception of, according to feminists, this preconception of the topic of the study could lead to an error or the biasedness. And they that the postmodernist critic feminist said that research can never be biased free, right? And one important thing that these theorists insisted that in 1960s and 70s, right after 1960s and 70s, after the women's liberation movement, right, they argued that there is a need to do research from the standpoint of the women. Before 1960s or before 1970s, no one has ever felt like that research should be carried out from the standpoint of the women. After the eruption of the women liberation movement, that is in 1960 and 70, they felt like that the research should be carried out from the viewpoint of the women, right? And the aim, what was the aim of this? The aim was to create a space for the women research and raise the consciousness, right? So today we discussed the feminist approach. In next lecture, we'll discuss about the quantitative methods. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Namaskar.